Hey, hello and welcome back. This is Cute Noise and we will look at another track and the production and the evolution of that track. It's called Lullaland and it's a Bill Laswell inspired ambient dub track. Released on pretty much every streaming site. You can check it out on Spotify. I will put it in the show notes. All right, there's nothing more to say. Let's jump in. I saved all my different steps, all the steps from the beginning to the mastering. And I will give you a very high level overview of the key moves I did. All right, we're here in Ableton. And this was, I think it was the first sketch I did for this song. So normally when I start, sometimes I use the session view, which is quite useful in some cases, not always, especially when I don't play any instrument myself and I just use Ableton instruments then or samples, then this session view is quite useful. And of course for you guys for all the live artists who use it on a live set. Probably when I started out it was not like that, but normally I try to create the main theme of the song and we can go through this. Okay, I think I will go through each of the instruments so you can get a better understanding. So this is the main theme of the song. I used one of the jazz brush kits, drum kits from Ableton, which you can get with the suite version. It's really nice. Has a really nice sound. That drum kit feels very realistic and it fits quite well for this kind of dub sound. So there's nothing really going on. What I did in order to create a bit more groove, I actually moved the hi-hat slightly later, so it creates a bit of a shuffle, as you can see here. Let's move this away so you can see every second one is here moved, and it also creates that typical dub feeling a bit. Okay, and then we have it's just an instrument, I think. Let me check. Yeah, I just use oh wait, maybe let's go back here. Yeah, I just used the jazz brush kit, and then I used a drum bass. Pretty straightforward. There's no send or return yet, because it's all about just finding the idea. And then we have this second atmospheric kind of pad. It's just one of the analog instruments. I just use the detune function here a bit, so it's the note moves up, and from the first oscillator moves down, and then from the second one moves up to create this like slightly dissonant sound, which I think is quite nice. And then we have a reverb, auto filter. Don't know what I used it for, just to get a bit of the highs, remove the highs a bit. It has a bit of an LFO, and then a compressor, pretty strong compressor on the brush, on the jazz brush kit. So actually on the snare hit. Then the bass. I think I just used the typical one of the prefabricated sub boom bass instruments. Here, this is just a simple sample to add a shaker. A triangle kind of sound. I like that sound a lot. A marimba. The first time I used a marimba. And then there's a large bowl sound. It's just in the background. You don't hear it that much when you play everything. Just adds a bit in the background. It's a very interesting vibraphone sound. A little bit, just add a bit of a melody in the background. That's it. And they're pushed already to on a certain side. But yeah, that was my beginning. And I used some of these elements to create different parts of the different scenes. So for example, at the beginning we have just this sound. And the session view here really helps to record a first draft. So I used the session view to actually record into the layout view a draft. So I started here. I think you get the point. The bass follows more or less this melody here, or these chords. So we have D minor, C major, and then A sharp major. And the bass follows that somehow. So that's the chord progression. Very simple. Oh yeah, I can show you the arrangement view. This is what I recorded as a very simple draft of that song. All right, let's go here. So that was already in December. Sometimes, you know, I have these ideas and then they just disappear for a while and they come back. Let's see what I did there. You can see I still use the same setting, but I worked way more in the session view. Oh, sorry, in the arrangement view. So it's already a pretty organized arrangement, and we can go through the different items. Okay, let's just have a listen, and I can talk about the different things. So here it starts exactly the same. I'll make it a bit louder so you can hear. So the bass sounds different. I used some parallel processing here. So you can see the bass actually sends a signal to the saturated. So I have more bass signal in the higher frequencies. Yeah, there's some jazz, some actual dub kind of guitar track is here. So we didn't have that before. I just used one of these jazz amp models. That's pretty handy. Tuner, don't need that anymore. Add a bit of width and a wah pedal. And now I added a different part of the song. I felt like it was too boring, so I had to add something different. So I added this another guitar track, different some different chord progression, and some reversed kind of guitar sound. Has a bit of a, like an Italo-Western style. These are the bigger items I actually changed. There was not much I changed really. Oh yeah, I added a gong kind of sound, which I felt really fit there. I had another break here. There's something still wrong with the... That changed later on. There's a bit of a confusion going on. Doesn't sound correct. So it was pretty much what we had before, the main idea, and then we have this in-between sections which I just added based on what I felt. But yeah, there was just an update. And then now we look at the next stage. Okay, so this file is already the mixing file. What I normally do during mixing, I take off all the effects, or all the effects I don't need really. I just put here back a limiter so you can actually see, you can listen to it in the loudness. I have it as a master. What I'm trying to do is I actually try to make sure that the loudness for each instrument is correct, and I still have some headroom later on for the mastering. So I'm here in the master channel, and I added just a limiter so you see how low it actually is compared to the master. So this is how it is when I mix. I will just add the gain. Pretty low. I will go to a drum track here. It's very low. It's super low. Normally I should actually be a bit, I aim to be a bit around 12, minus 12 dB. But it's pretty low. Anyway, that gave me a lot of headroom, of course, to play around in the mastering stage. But let's go through each of the instruments. And the breaks. So I introduced the guitar here, but I thought it would be good to have the chords moving along with it. then the bass also comes in. Okay, let's go from here. Let's see if I changed everything. I didn't actually change anything on the drum kit. I also have no additional send or return here, so that stayed like it is. The bass, oh no, the analog instrument. I just add a strong compressor. Let's just give it a bit more. But here I have a problem. Is I have this kind of sound. I think I worked on that in the next stage. The bass has a compressor to control it better, and also an EQ and a send. So I'm sending this to the saturator. Give it a bit more drive, so I have more information, more sound information on the frequencies from 100 to around, I don't know, 200 or 400. Yeah, around 300 actually here. The shaker, I kept it as it is. I just added some width. Same for this triangle. The triangle had some very annoying frequencies, so I took them out. So I took this out just to make it more easy on the ear. The marimba. Let's go back to marimba sound. The marimba got a bit lower. It was too loud overall. Ball sound, I didn't change anything. It was very good as it was. Same for the vibraphone. This one I didn't use. And this is my guitar, and here I did some optimization because it just didn't. It was too loud or too low. Depending on which section, so I had to take it off and on. It's the other guitar. Just also made sure that I removed here the lows. Actually, I didn't do that here, interestingly, but I think I took off. That was the melody I added. Oh yes, forgot about it. So I added a whole melody. Forgot about to talk about it. Yeah, but it needed a melody, so I added this melody with the guitar. Sometimes for me it's easier to play the guitar. I can just play whatever melody I want to play very quickly. And here is, I think there's some send to the reverb and a delay, a bit of a delay, but this is just at the end. I added some delay at the end. This is our gong, and then in the last Yeah, the last track is also guitar, just adding these chords, give a bit of a tremolo guitar amp, which gives a bit of kind of spaghetti western kind of feel, or Kill Bill if you want. Yeah, and then after this, normally I open a new file and I flatten everything just to make, I just create wave files, wave tracks. Let's check that out. Yeah, as you can see, all of these tracks are now audio tracks and not MIDI tracks anymore. It doesn't work always as I want, but in that case, yeah, I did that, which first of all makes it faster to process, and then second, it also sometimes sounds better. And then here I start to add a bit more automation to the individual tracks if I need to. But yeah, the sound is the same, so we don't need to really go through that, but it's just showing you what I did. Just checking if I did more on the mastering here. No, it's the same. Yes, here, the mixing. So although I master, I add the whole mastering chain afterwards. I still add a bit of pre-mastering if you want. So I have a glue compressor, which glues everything together a bit. Here, normally I use a very short attack, the ratio 2, and then the release also very short, but because it's a very slow pace, it's like 68, super slow, 68 beats per minute, so it's really slow. I made the release a bit slower as well. I add an EQ where you can see I really pushed down the bass. This was because the bass was way too high, way too much, and I explained it a bit later why I did that. And I took off some of the frequencies which I didn't really like. Also, what I did here is I separated the high frequencies. I can play with the width a bit more, and then the bass is almost mono. So after this, I just export. I exported the audio with Samperator 48. It normally works well. Sometimes I try it higher, but it doesn't always work. It actually changes the sound quite a lot. And then here I use bitrate, at least 24, and no dither. It's very important. So when I export, I can show this. It should be 48 at least, 24, and no dither. That's how it should be. And then you export, and then I go to the master file. So here I have only one file in here, and when I play this without the mastering, then yeah, I'm somewhere between minus 24 dB and minus 12 dB. So it's quite low, but it gives me a lot of headroom. And then I put on this ozone. Actually, what I did first was I removed some more frequencies I didn't like. And you might not be able to hear it now, but let's turn this on. So the ozone is my mastering tool. It really helps me. I don't have a multi-million-dollar studio, so that tool really helps me to master because it tells me when something's wrong. So I should do a tutorial about this, but basically what it does, it analyzes the loudest section of you play the loudest section of your song, and then it applies equalizer, dynamic compressor, dynamic equalizer, and a maximizer, which just pushes it. It's basically a limiter, which we can push it onto the loudness you require. And normally you start with here, you can choose how do you want to work on this. You want to use a modern kind of workflow or a vintage workflow. You want to use a reference for the loudness and EQ and the intensity and how much you want to apply this to your song. This is all when you basically play that section. It does a pretty good job, but the more important tool is this one, the tonal balance. And it gives you a really good kind of graph on where your music individual frequencies should be based on the genre of your music. I mean, there's not, and this is based on many thousands of different songs in different genres like jazz, modern, orchestral, pop, reggae, and so on. And yeah, it's super helpful. So if I play this, and let's play this again. As I said before, I took some frequencies off, which I didn't like. So if I click here, you can... That was a really annoying sound. And it's often at this 4 kilohertz spot where this happens. I also didn't like that one. Yeah, so there were a few frequencies. Now, this equalizer actually helps to bring the music into this graph. So most of the time is pretty much within this space, but yeah, we have some, as you can see here. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not about being perfect, but it gives you a really good idea on if your bass is too much, if your high is too low, and so on. All right, that's it. If you want to listen to it, you can find it under the name Fumame, and you can hear how it sounds on Spotify. The reason I say that is because after this you export your file so you need to export it with the settings here. The settings now you use 44,100 hertz, and then you choose 16-bit depth, and you choose one of these theater options. Triangular works very well in the most cases, but yeah, you can experiment. That's how you need to export it if you want to upload it on CD Baby, or I think DistroKid probably has a similar requirement. Alright, I hope you liked this video. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe. See you in the next video.